Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Ty. I am here to review season 4, episode 7 of Power Book 3, Raising Canaan. And the episode is titled Allow Me to Introduce Myself. Now, before I get into this review, I have to give a shout out to my lovely subscribers who have been watching this show faithfully with me and leaving comments down below. So, shout outs to folks like Lamont Simpson, Simply Be Yourself 100. June BLC, Absolutely Fabulous by June, P. Bronson, Old Boogie Baby, Tayon's World, R.C. Kroger, and all the rest of you wonderful, wonderful people. I do truly appreciate you. Keep the comments coming, keep the engagement. But let's get down to this episode. Allow me to reintroduce myself, which actually I said the episode should be titled Strong and Wrong or Loud and Wrong, because Unique is definitely loud and wrong. He got it all wrong. You know, the episode picks up where we left off in episode 6, where he's confronted Rock in her kitchen, and he is just certain, he is hell bent that she was behind all this, that she tried to kill him, and she's trying to explain it to him, but it's not going. His head is still mixed up. He's loud and wrong. He's strong and wrong, and he's telling her, "I'ma take you down," but not in a sexual way. But he was saying he's gonna take her down, but he ain't gonna kill. I ain't gonna kill you right now, but I'm gonna take your stuff from you. And he admits to that. He's the one who's been hitting her supplies and doing all this. And he also says to her, and I'm the one who killed your little boyfriend, talking about her lawyer. She said, dude, that's my lawyer. But he's so mixed up still and wanting revenge. He's like, you're a liar. He don't believe nothing she's saying. And he told her he's taking her down. But he's loud and wrong. He thinks that she was working with Ronnie and all this other stuff. And he told her, yeah, I was there the night y'all killed Ronnie and you and your son walked off, because she was trying to explain to him, listen, I thought Kanan was in danger, this, that, and the third. He's like, you're a liar. He wasn't trying to hear none of that. So from his perspective, when he saw things, he saw what was going on. They killed Ronnie and they left. So he's thinking, oh, they all down to, they down with each other. That's how he's looking at it. He's looking like they double crossed his brother as well. I'm like, you got the story mixed up. She wasn't working with him. He's loud and wrong. So then Raquel goes to her family. She's telling them Unique is alive. Unique is back. And she's having the meeting with the family. And, Lulu's like he look out for the family. He back. He trying to threaten us. I'm in to get rid of him. Everybody's like, get rid of him. Rock is like, no, we can't just do that. We have to play this smart. We can't. And she's right. She said we gotta play this smart. We can't have this bloodshed and all this. And we gotta figure out who is behind him. See, Rock is always thinking ahead. She said, who's behind him? We got to figure that out. Everybody else is like, rah, 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 let's get revenge, this, that, and the third. And Kanan, another one, loud and wrong. He's going off on his mother, saying she's messed things up again. But see, Kanan ain't in his right mind right now either, because he's still grieving his friend. He's still grieving famous. So he's like saying all this stuff, being disrespectful. Marvin was funny because Marvin's like, that boy need a whipping. And then you see Jukebox telling her father, telling both of them, like, listen, maybe y'all, he's grown, talking about Kanan, and maybe you all should listen and not just, always react. I understand this whole thing of respect and all thing, but maybe you all should just listen. Just listen. Listen. That's what she said. And she does have a point, but he's actually wrong here. Kanan is actually in the wrong here, in my opinion. So then Rock goes and she's saying that they need to lay low while the rest of them want to retaliate. We need to lay low. We need to figure out what's going on, And then she goes to Pops and Snaps. I love those two. And she's telling them, listen, this dude is back, this, that, and the third. And they were like, that ain't my problem. You don't work with us. We work with Kanan. And she told him, he's coming after Kanan too. And they said, well, thanks for letting us know. We'll look into this. And then when she left, they mentioned this might be trouble, but this might also benefit us. So all of that was interesting. And then we did see that he did pay them a visit later on as well. Unique did pay them a visit. Speaking of Unique goes and sees, what's her name? Renessa? His And that was like she's seeing a ghost, and now he's back in her life, and she was happy to see him or whatever. And then he's explaining the situation to her, and he's telling her what he thinks, that Ronnie was down with Rock, and she says to him, "No, I don't really think that was." And he jumped up with this outburst. "You don't know what you talking about," flipping out. And I said, "See, this stuff up here is still a little messed up." And then he basically tell her, "We moving out now. You're moving out now. We got to get out of here. I got to keep you safe because the south side gonna be hot. The streets gonna be hot." And then we later see him take her to, she basically tells him, "No, she's listen, it's me. I love you. This, that, and the third." And she just said, She was trying to reason with him. But then we see later on in the episode, he takes her to a new place, beautiful place. Tell us, "This is all yours. You can decorate it how you want to decorate it. You could change some things if you want." And he said, "But you can't go back to your mama's house." And she said, "Well, I got to take my mother to dialysis." He said, "F your mother." I was like, "Oh, that was rude." He said, "Listen, y'all staying here. I ain't dying for nobody else. Again, y'all staying here. You and my son staying here. I have one of my peoples take your mother back and forth to dialysis." So he's like, I'm like, why couldn't he just let grandma come on over and stay, let his son's grandmother stay with at their house, at the house? But he's like, "No, I'll have my people go take her to dialysis." I was like, this is going to be interesting. And then we see the stuff falling apart for Rock. We see things falling apart. We see the conversation with Stefano, and they trying to figure out. They're like, "Listen, this dude is back. Unique is back." And they're like, "We got to figure out what's going on." Later in the episode, Stefano has a side conversation with Marvin, and he tells Marvin, he tells Marvin that, there's some backing from the mobsters in Jersey. They're behind this, but it's not really too much I can do. And then, and earlier when he had the conversation with Rock and with Marvin, he was mentioning how, "I see what's going on here. They're using the two of you to fight it out while we up, the little people," talking about y'all, the little people. That's what he called them, the little small fries. "Y'all fight it out while us, it's really our war, but we're letting you handle it." And they were like, "Well, what kind of foolishness is that?" And Stefano's like, "I can't really get my hands dirty or whatever." But he was telling Marvin, "I believe that you should cut ties with Rock." And that didn't go so well, and his reasoning was, he's like, "She's messing up. She messed up when she got on the odds with Quan, and you really should, we need to get her to the side." But Marvin is too loyal for that, and he's like, "I don't know about that." But then Marvin has his little side business with Stefano too. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. Marvin, something might happen. I don't know. I'm thinking something may happen with him. Whatever. That's really crazy. Let's move on down to Kanan. Kanan is already, he's enraged. He goes to his stash where he was, tipping and dipping and dipping out the pot and hiding stuff. And he goes there and see that his money's missing. And then he's looking for OG. That's his name, right? OG or OC. And he has his crew trying to look for him, and they can't find him. But remember, OG was also snitching and working with Unique. So that's interesting to see what's going on with that. And then again, strong and wrong, and jumping to conclusions. We see Kanan in the streets trying to find out, what's going on. And then he sees his mother, and he sees his mother giving money to a cop, basically paying him off. And now he's jumped to this conclusion that he believes that Rock killed Famous. He's like, and he tells his girlfriend this, and he's like, "You know what? I believe that I know who did it." And he tells his girlfriend that it was his mother. But he has no proof of that. He's just jumped to conclusions. Maybe Rock is bribing the police for some other situation. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, come on with that. What else was going on in this episode? This backstory with Marvin and Imani and Armani saying that story is not really moving anywhere. She's saying she doesn't mind him, if he was messing with Jessica or whatever. She just doesn't want to be caught off guard. I didn't really care for that story. This is a little filler for me, because I'm like, you just got on the scene, lady, and you don't know him. So all that, you don't. I didn't really care about the storyline, but that was interesting. But this thing with B Rilla, his artist, having those guys go to Lowell's house to rob Lowell, and then they're like, yeah, he sees that there's people there, and B Rilla's like, wait a minute, it's supposed to be a, you know, rob and grab. No one's supposed to be there. And it's like, no, if there's a safe, we need to get the combination from the person. And so he's like, I can't go in there. I'm his artist. He's going to automatically know it's me, even with a mask. So he says, you know what? You could stay in the you stay in the truck, and they took the keys, and they made B Rilla stay in the truck. Then you heard gunshots, and they come out. One of them got shot, and they said, yeah, he had a gun, and so we had to kill them. So now he's like, yo, did I just have the CEO of my record label killed? Because now B Rilla is thinking that that Lowell's been killed. Then we see a scene where B Rilla and Lulu are having a conversation at the studio, and they're having a meeting, and it was supposed to be with Lowell, and he's like, Lowell's, you sure Lowell's coming? Because he thinks Lowell's dead, but he's not dead. Turns out Lowell pops up, and he turns and says, yo, I had such a rough night. The people I rented my house to got shot up and robbed and killed. It's crazy. Lock your doors. Not knowing it was this guy who was behind all that. So he's like, oh, he's alive. They not only botched this, they killed the wrong people. So, it's crazy. So Lowell's pretty much alive, and that was interesting. I said, okay, good, interesting stuff. This episode, really good stuff. I want to talk on the evolution of Laverne becoming more of Jukebox. Marvin finds out that she took his gun again, but this time he tells her, you can hold on to it, but you got to give it back. Because again, he gives her this thing about, this is not the life I want for you. I don't want this life of crime for you. But it's too late. And he's a fool if he thinks he's getting that gun back from her. You're not getting that gun back from Jukebox. Jukebox is here. We're seeing the evolution. She's now officially. So I was like, okay, that's interesting. And then they have, what else was going on? They had the family gathering at the house. It was the siblings. It was all of them, because the Mother Joyce is dying of cancer, and they all were at Raquel was at the house, Lulu, Marvin, and they were reminiscing, and they were like, it wasn't all bad, and they found some good spots. They found some good things. And Marvin tells her, he says, she wanted me to kill her. And then they mentioned that, and then they had that conversation. They said, well, why she didn't ask me? And she said, because she knows you want her to suffer or something like that. And she was like, it was kind of true. But I like that they had that conversation as siblings, and they realized our mother did the best she could trying to raise us. And it wasn't all bad. And they remember the story about her, their mother making sure all the neighbors brought their dogs over for Raquel's 5th birthday. And that was cool. That was sweet. But I want to go back just a little bit when Marvin had the conversation with Rock, and pretty much she said, oh, so you were, because he told her who was behind the whole thing, who's supporting Unique. And she said, oh, so you work, the feds were in line, you were going to Stefano. He said, listen, my business with Stefano, that was a side business thing. She said, but why you didn't tell me? He said, because I don't answer to you. So that was a very interesting conversation. We're going to see where all this is going. The show is good. The show is so good. I just love it. This episode was really good, too. So now we get to this scene where Marvin pretty much tells Raquel, he tells us, listen, the nurse is out and taking a break. Go in there and see Mom. But I took it as him saying, go in there and kill Mom, because you got the cojones to do it. We don't have it. You can do it. So she goes in there. Her mother wakes up. They have a very decent conversation. And she's telling her mother about the whole thing when she was young, and the dog, and how her mother got, had the neighbor, all the people bring the dogs over, and why she did that. And her mother said, I did that so you could stop asking me to get you a dog. So I just had them bring that dog there. She said, I was cleaned up here for weeks. And then they mentioned the whole thing about her wanting to, assisted suicide. And she was telling, I just, that's what she wants. At first she was like, oh, I was out of my mind. But she said, then she kind of admitted to that's what she wanted. And the episode pretty much, I like that scene, because finally we see a side of Raquel where she's crying. And she's crying. So we see her softer side. I'm like, okay, things are, we see something with her. I'm like, okay, because she's always the strongest one there, but now she's crying, and then she has that moment with her mother, and then she assists with the assisted suicide. So great episode. I know I say this all the time. I cannot wait for the next episode to see what does Raising Kanan do. They do 10 episodes, right? So this was 7, so we got a few left. So I can't wait because I know we gonna be in for a treat. It was great. Tell me your thoughts. What did you feel about this episode? Yeah. Tell me your thoughts. What do you think about this episode? How have you been liking this season? I'm enjoying this season. Like I said, probably in my last review, this show is very consistent and the writing is tight, and I do appreciate that. So that's all I have for now. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.